Hi, this is G from Native Speakers Academy, and welcome to 10-Minute English. This is where we introduce short articles from the news or from around the internet for upper intermediate and advanced level students. This is your daily dose of English to keep you cognitively alive. If you want more information about what we do, then you can visit our home site, which is at nsa-slovakia.com. The home site is the Center for Educational Theory and Research, where you can find hundreds of research articles about all different kinds of elements of education. You might also want to check out the videos on our YouTube page. They're organized into sections. We've got popular uploads. We've got the best of Stefan Molyneux, that's social philosophy. We've got our 10-minute English session. We've got our John Taylor Gatto presentations, classic rants and speeches, promotions, and you might want to check out our latest presentation, which is how to raise a child peacefully. It's all about peaceful parenting techniques and how to apply them in the family. And we've got our older projects there, the Education News Show and Underground Education. Altogether a wealth of information. You can also check me out, that's Graham Hendry, on Pinterest. And here are some of the pins that have gone up in the last 24 hours. We've got American signed petition to add Soylent Green to Michelle Obama's school lunch menu. That's the great work of Mark Dice, American media analyst. We've got asking questions is an art, infographics about asking questions. We've got motivational business quotes. We've got principles of adult learning, and on and on. There is a wide variety of information, altogether over 2,800 pins to 13 boards there. Anyway, the reason why we're here is to spend 10 minutes studying language. So if I can pull up today's article, which I think is here, there we go. We get the title at the top: Blood Money, the UK's 12.3 billion arms sales to repressive states. Now, as usual, I have highlighted important vocabulary in yellow. You can pause the video and check out the important vocabulary before we go through the text. And it's not just vocabulary, it's also phrases. We can see passive structures, we can see interesting collocations. It's all things that might be new for you. Or you can guess the language from the context and check your understanding afterwards. If you want to know how to use good language tools, you can skip over to Google, and if you type in define followed by the word that you're interested in, you will find a quick definition, and if you click under the quick definition, it will take you to more detailed information about the word. You can also try the online etymology dictionary. That will give you the history of the word. We can type in the word here, and there we go. Or if you want some cool graphical representations that you can play around with, you can try Visual Words. That's a bit too bouncy for me. Just before we start, I thought it might be interesting to point out some of the interesting origins of words. For example, pupil, which we generally use to describe a student in a school, originated in late Middle English, but originally is from the Old French and then Latin, pupus, boy, pupa, girl. But pupil also has a second meaning. Pupil being the dark circular opening at the center of the iris of the eye, varying in size to regulate the amount of light reaching the retina. In essence, the pupil controls the light entering the body, and the control of the light is a regulation of the enlightenment of the student. It is also interesting that pupa has the original meaning of doll or puppet. That's why puppet begins P-U-P as pupil begins P-U-P. So there's a little insight for you into the origins of language. Feel free to explore it for yourself. As I said, I recommend the online etymology dictionary, which will give you a little bit of the story of the word. Let's get to our article. We're not going to do this in 10 minutes today, but we're going to try our very best. So, what is this about? Blood money, the UK's 12.3 billion arms sales to repressive states. To understand this, I think it would be good to have a little look at a graphic. Here we go. Value of the UK arms exports. Our lovely little green and pleasant land here has been involved in some interesting business recently. Look at this, value of strategic arms export licenses. Look, the red areas are the size of the value of these exports. There are over 3,000 government approved export licenses worth more than 12 billion for strategic controlled goods going to the Foreign Office's 27 countries of human rights concern, say MPs. Bit late to be concerned about that, isn't it? What do we have? 7.879 million going to the Middle East. We have 1.486 million going to China. We've got 24.3 million pounds of arms exports. Arms meaning weapons, of course. Exports to Madagascar. I mean, what are we doing? Exporting to Madagascar? Are they fighting the animals, or what is going on there? I suggest that maybe some of these countries are interim mediation countries, that they buy from Britain and then they sell on to other states. The article. The government has issued more than 3,000 export licenses for military and intelligence equipment worth a total of 12.3 billion to countries which are on its own official list for human rights abuses. Well done. The existence of one license to Israel and the occupied territories has not been made public until today. Worth 7.7 billion, it relates to cryptographic equipment which has dual defense and civilian use. Remember, please read defense as attack. The scale and detail of the deals emerged after a forensic investigation by a committee of MPs who also discovered that strategically controlled items have been sent to Iran, China, Sri Lanka, Russia, Belarus and Zimbabwe, all of which feature prominently on the Foreign Office lists of states with worrying civil rights records. Why don't we put our own country on that list if we're selling them these weapons? There are even 3 existing contracts for Syria, notwithstanding the fact that the UK is sending equipment to rebels fighting the Assad regime and is considering arming them. is sending equipment and considering arming them. Isn't sending equipment already arming them? There are also 57 for Argentina, which is not on the list, but which remains in confrontation with Britain over the Falklands. Lovely. The government had stated that it would not issue export licenses for goods which might be used to facilitate internal repression or might provoke or prolong regional or internal conflicts. Bit late for that. However, the report by the Committee on Arms Exports Controls, did you know there was a Committee on Arms Export Controls? They're not doing very well, are they? Found that there were 62 licenses for selling to Iran. Again, overwhelmingly cryptographic equipment. This also features heavily in the 271 licenses for Russia, along with biotechnology equipment, sniper rifles, laser weapon systems, weapon sights, and unmanned air vehicles, also called drones. Well, that's friendly, isn't it? Both countries have been involved in large-scale supplies of weaponry to President Assad, and members of Iran's Revolutionary Guards have been on the ground supporting regime forces in Syria. Look, we're funding both sides. The committee points out that the contracts should be examined both on grounds of internal oppression and prolonged regional conflicts. The Syrian licenses are for components for four-wheel drive vehicles with ballistic protection, that's armoured protection, which is believed to have been for an aid organisation, which, yeah, I highlighted, is believed. Is believed. They have no idea. But there are also hydrophone arrays, which can be used to listen underwater. Perhaps to people in their baths. Oh my god. The report points out that the latter have a dual use, and the government needs to confirm that it is not breaking international sanctions against Syria. I wonder if they follow any of the contracts they actually create, or if they keep any of the agreements or deals. The suppliers to China have the largest numbers of licenses, with 1,163 worth 1.8 billion, as well as cryptographic equipment. This includes direct military communications equipment, body armor, and weapons sights. Of course, weapons sights are, of course, they won't be used with weapons, will they? The committee urged the government to examine whether this infringes the EU's arms embargo on Beijing, and whether it should in fact seek to expand the embargo to include all military goods. Well, there's a question. Source of this article is The Independent, and a link to the full original article, from which I have edited some information, will be posted together with this video online. Things to think about, not just about the language, but about the whole morality and philosophy of the situation. So here are my thoughts. To secure peace is to prepare for war, which is a line from a Metallica song that has been ringing round my head since I first read the article. What do you think? What value is human life? Why are we still doing this and acting like primitive cave people with stones and bones? Have the visible wars of the 20th century become the invisible wars of the 21st century? Again, something to think about. You might want to search the term silent weapons for quiet wars. Have we exported the idea of war from Europe, especially after the 20th century? It is debatable. I think there have been many wars in many other regions of the world. Conquest has been an ongoing problem, perhaps, of history, the quest for dominance. And what about blowback? Remember, and this is the principle of blowback, what goes around comes around. We can't have so much war with so many casualties, which are people, around the world. It's also an interesting fact now that more American soldiers die from suicide than die in combat. This tells you about our mental state. So I hope this article was interesting for you. I hope you picked up some new vocabulary. If there's a subject that you'd like us to cover, or a news article you would like us to present, then please let us know. Give us some feedback. If you want it to be a bit easier, if you want it to be a bit more complex, let me know. Remember that you can visit our home site, nsa-slovakia.com, and have a look at our research articles there. You can find us all over the internet on various forums, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+. You can link up to us there and give us some feedback. Links to this article and anything else relevant will be posted together with the video online. If you're really interested, then you might want to investigate one of our special one-to-one English language study programs. Just send us an email. So you can like, subscribe, share this video, whatever, do what you want. Have a great day. This is all we have time for. There'll be a new video posted soon. So take it easy and bye for now.